Hi there, this is Joanne from TrueAuthenticPower.com from Tapping.me, and I'm also the creator of the program Catapulting to Confidence. I wanted to do this audio because it seems like we are in an epidemic of social anxiety. I don't even know how this came across my path to even notice this, but I saw a couple of local groups here and how they were growing and how quickly they grew. And then I went onto a bigger Facebook environment where I saw that the groups were huge. Thousands of people are in these groups. And it dawned on me that the ruminating patterns and beliefs that keep the situation stuck are still alive and well. And what if it could be changed? What if it is possible to reverse and heal social anxiety? I started reading some of the comments just to see what the assumptions were, the beliefs, and I'm talking subconscious beliefs. The learned, this is the way it is. I didn't hear a whole lot of, I'm ready to get over this and how do I do it? I heard about lamenting and ruminating about the pain and suffering. And I understand that support groups do serve a purpose for being able to provide a venting avenue, and that's needed. And the reason it's needed is because when you are around people who don't understand that it is not something you just get over or you just think differently, it creates even more hurt. So when you get into an environment with other people who are in it, who understand it, that are on the same page of saying they don't get it and it hurts me when they don't get it, so at least you understand. That's the first part of opening the door to healing, is at least pulling back from resisting all that how-tos and things from people who have never experienced it and don't understand what it feels like. I have been in those shoes and I so understand. That will only take you so far, though. You do need the comfort of knowing you're not alone, but what does staying in the misery, knowing that a lot of other people are in misery, do for you? Long term, it's not going to do anything. And talking about the same thing without trying to work on releasing it will increase the neural nets and the pattern energetically. Now, a lot of people who are in patterns or don't know that there are solutions haven't been exposed to the ways or the knowledge that can break some of those things apart. So I want to share some things with you and check them out. Don't believe me. I've been in these shoes. I had pockets of dramatic and traumatic episodes that really shook my internal world to the point where I did have a couple of reactions that were like a panic attack, and I had never, ever had that in my life before. But there is something called a trauma tolerance, and when you get to your limit, you can't handle one more thing. And it's not because you're lazy or crazy or can't pull yourself up or any of the other tags that you'll hear from other people who have never been in those shoes. There is an energetic overload, overwhelm, shock, and dramatic interruption to your energy that happened that now keeps you stuck and replaying in the same loop. So yes, while it can be comforting to find people who at least understand what you are going through, that will not help you get out of it. And that's almost as painful to stay in a loop that keeps creating the same thing, talking about the same thing. It won't break the pattern apart, release the pattern or the stuck energy. So I'd like to share a couple of avenues of what you can listen to and what you can learn. And several of them are on my website, but you can find them other places on the web, certainly on YouTube. If you don't know about energy or how energetic patterns start, how it's not in your DNA, how the cells in your body can be changed based on the environment that you're in, then you need to do some learning. I would suggest that you don't need to do anything. I would suggest to you that you do some educating of yourself. Listen to Bruce Lipton. Listen to Joe Dispenza. Listen to some of the guys who have been doing this work and are proving through research. People like Dawson Church. There are people around who are proving that this is a changeable and healable situation. If you don't know their work, I can't stress enough that it really would be good for you to educate yourself, because things can change and you can not only get relief, but resolve this pattern. The other thing is that I am all about tapping. I use tapping for just about everything. Pulling things out, putting things in. I've done some theta healing on myself as well with the help of somebody else. But more often than not, I have gone towards the path of EFT to break things apart. And now that I understand the trauma tolerance, because I went through it, now that I understand how you can all of a sudden become this nervous Nelly when you've never been that way in the past because of trauma and shock, I get it. I was there and I had never been there before. It is not just about moving on and just pushing through, because those triggers will come up again if you don't heal them. So is it possible to reverse and heal this social anxiety issue? I believe it is. I've done it. I don't have panic attacks anymore, and I saw where it was coming from and how I could change that. You might stay with the group support just for comfort of people who you can talk freely with. That is important. But if you want to change something, you've got to change the subconscious beliefs and the energetic patterns. Recently, I was in a social anxiety meeting discussion, and someone had mentioned that this social anxiety was not only in her energy, but her parent had had it, and now her child has it. And she said, it's in our DNA. And I firmly said, no, it's not, because I know the work of these gentlemen that are proving it is not in your stem cell. It is not in your cells, or it might be in your cells, but you can change it. It's not an unchangeable reality. And so when she said that, and I said, it is learned, what I'm referring to is, let's just do an exercise here. Think about a trait that you picked up from one of your parents that you think is a wonderful trait. Maybe they had a kindness or a giving or a something that you just like about yourself, that you liked about them, that you know you learned from them. Maybe it's a skill or talent. And I want you to pause for a second and just think, how did you learn that? Most likely it was by watching them, paying attention to what they were doing. A lot of times you saw a lot of great things happen and you just automatically said, I want to be like that, or I like that. And you started to gravitate towards that energy. What happens before the age of 7, though, and some people will say it's up to 10, so 6 to 10, somewhere in that time frame, we are in a transition from a theta brainwave state where we're in like a hypnotic brainwave that says we are very suggestible. And if you learned great things in that time frame, then all the better. If you learned negative patterns, things that you can't release, frustration, anger, hate, things that stop us, things that stymie us, you automatically learned those patterns that you didn't even know you were downloading. Energy is extremely contagious, especially before the age of 7. And if you downloaded those patterns by what you saw in the household, if you saw people getting sick all the time, you will probably have a tendency to get sick all the time. If you heard things like, oh, if I go outside without a hat, I'm going to get a cold. If you learned that early on, a lot of times you incorporate those beliefs subconsciously and you don't even know they're there. What I'm saying is, if you were around anxious energy, if your mom, when she was pregnant with you, was anxious or on edge about her pregnancy, something going on with her partner, something going on in her life, you will pick up that energy unconsciously. It is learned. It is not necessarily a DNA thing. I'm not the expert, and I'm not claiming to diagnose, cure, or treat here. I've learned from those experts that I mentioned earlier that it is not a DNA thing, and there's proof to support that. So I'm going off of what experts are showing is proven, documented, researched proof. Just suffice it to say that. If you need to know more, go and follow those guys yourself and learn about what I've learned. It can be helpful to not only realize that you picked up some negative habits and patterns through kind of osmosis, just from being in the environment, but it also starts to make you check, question, and wonder, who am I around now that does the same thing, that's reinforcing and attracting that same pattern? Because you can break it apart. You can dissolve a pattern, even if you've had it for a long-standing, most of your life, irritating kind of stuff going on. It is possible to break it apart. So part of why I did this is I heard in some of the big Facebook groups, and I heard from some conversations with people who have social anxiety, that there's just no hope. You've got to maintain it. And some of these people in the conversation have been on drugs and medication for years, and they're still suffering. So what really, is there anything getting better? You might be just numbing out. You might be just able to handle, but if that's where you want to stay for the rest of your life, you might want to educate yourself and learn a little bit more. I saw tapping and other methods turn around my energy because I started addressing the subconscious, and I started addressing the energy patterns that I wanted to undo. We learn so much that we take for granted and are unaware of. I do these audios to bring awareness, to bring education to people who are stuck ruminating in the same stuff, and they don't even know why or how or, oh, can I even stop this? It's making me crazy. Because when we never get to resolution and we're trying so hard and we're doing what people say should work and it doesn't work, oh, that takes away hope even more. Tapping is an amazing tool. And there are others as well. If what I'm saying doesn't resonate with you, then find something that does. But I have seen tapping turn around and create miraculous kind of releasing. Now, does it always happen in a blink? Absolutely not. There are some people I've worked with that have worked and cleared the energy patterns very, very quickly. There are others that didn't know anything about energy, didn't know anything about how to reverse some of these things, that it took a while to get them into a safe zone to even trust that that was possible. But as they felt better, the trusting level went up. My point here is you can stay in a support group for whatever your ailment is, whatever it is that's bothering you. And that can bring you only a certain level of comfort just from an understanding point of view that they understand and hear you. What's it going to do for the long-term healing, though? Changing, breaking apart the pattern. If you're not talking about solutions and resolutions in those groups, they're only going to take you so far, and actually, they're probably reinforcing more of what you say you don't want. Because the more you talk about it without moving any energy, the more you talk about it without breaking apart the subconscious beliefs, it only gets even more embedded. I wanted to share some of this information because I hear such misconceptions, misperceptions, and just flat out things that are no longer applicable because we have grown by leaps and bounds with energy psychology, energy techniques, subconscious reveals, things that are actually working and being proven with documented research that they work. If you want to stay stuck, you can stay where you are and not do a thing to change. But I don't think I've ever met a person that would not want their life to be, full of health, vibrant, full of wealth and joy and love and fulfillment. Ruminating about the same old pattern and reinforcing it is not going to get you there. But there are tools such as tapping, and I am a practitioner coach of tapping. I guide people how to use the technique and uncover those seemingly hidden things that are blocking you that you don't even know exist. I had to do it for myself. I did a lot of EFT sessions. I did a lot of learning. I did a lot of learning across the board with energy. And now I can share that I know that those things are possible to reverse the pain, the pain, the pain, the pain, the pain. If you're human and here on earth, I think I'm making, it may be a wrong assumption, but I'm making an assumption that you want a happy, wealthy, vibrant, joyful, loving life. And if that's your goal, you need to start questioning what it is that's stuck in your energy and in your subconscious mind that you can actually reverse, undo, release, and resolve. I hope this helps. I hope it brings you some hope and incentive to seek solutions, to seek answers, to seek out my help, to invest in your life, to change something instead of doing the same old that's not working. It's not because you're lazy, crazy, or stupid, but if you didn't know, you can't do what works. You can't explore other avenues. All of those guys have information on my website, which is trueauthenticpower.com. I have expert videos. I have sample videos of my own. I have a lot of information, and there are tools that I can tell you about. Private session coaching or membership site where I guide you in different tapping audios and videos and explanations like this. Or there are just so many ways that you can reverse this. And I hope it will bring you some incentive to go beyond where you are and investigate. There is more of life waiting for you, ready for you, when you're able to uncover what's in the way and release it. Until our paths cross again next time, this is Joanne. Bye-bye for now.